Offaly, who left a couple of vacancies in their team announced earlier this week. Ger Oakley is chosen in midfield alongside Johnny Pilkington, while John Troy's groin injury has healed sufficiently to allow him to start. Captain Hubert Rigney starts his 20th championship match, the same figure as the left half-back Kevin Martin. And the substitutes this afternoon, this is the full list. They've all done the hard work with the chosen 15. Paddy Mulhare, however, is absent owing to a family bereavement. And a quick look perhaps at Clare, but they make two changes in the team announced on Wednesday. Christy Chaplin into midfield, and of course Brian Lowen back at full-back, and Barry Murphy from Scariff in at full forward, wearing number 21. So the match getting underway just a little bit early, and straight away it is Clare who tried to launch their first attack. David Ford over there alongside Martin Hannamy. Kevin Keenan put under some severe pressure early on by Barry Murphy. That goes beyond Christy Chaplin. That's Ger Oakley wearing the yellow helmet and wearing number 22. So it's Clare then playing away into the goal on our left. A crowd here, I would estimate, around about 30,000 this afternoon. Ollie Baker coming to take this one. John Troy, by the way, for Offaly has gone into full forward as Baker takes the sideline cut. Out again by Kevin Martin. Michael Duignan starting at left half forward. John Troy up there at full forward. And here's Brian Lowen coming into picture. Usually such a commanding figure. That's taken by a commanding Darren Hannafy, trying to get the first score of the match, and he's fired it away to the right. Just to confirm then some of the switches and changes, it's Darren Hannafy right half forward for Offaly. They have John Ryan on the 40 marking Sean McMahon, and Michael Duignan, as I said just before that, left half forward. David Fitzgerald delivering a good puck out to the middle of the field. Christy Chaplin trying to take control in there, stopped by Pilkington. That went straight to the head there of Anthony Daly, and very wisely the referee holding up the play. They really felt the effects of that one, and referee Jimmy Cooney from Galway in very, very smartly indeed. Well, this is what happened here. Ball came flying through the centre here from Johnny Pilkington, and as you can see, it caught Anthony Daly, the Clare captain, flush on the forehead. Plenty of changes in the Clare forward line as well, as we watch Anthony Daly from Clare Castle get some attention straight away from Dr. Porrick Quinn. Markham is left half forward, that's okay. Fergie Tui's gone into full forward, and Gerlach now continues to make changes and switches. In fact, there was a stick that connected along with the ball. The referee decides it's a free, and it's to be taken by Sean McMahon. Breeze behind him. It drops towards the right, however, and that has gone wide. So the fans here coming as usual in their thousands for the second major match to take place on a Saturday. Last one was the Connacht football final replay. Stephen Byrne pucking this one out towards Michael Duignan. Liam Doyle right alongside him. Didn't look 100% fit the last day. This is Joe Dooley, played well 2 weeks ago. David Fitzgerald made that wonderful save from Johnny Dooley, of course. Johnny Pilkington, the goal scorer for Offaly, under that one, down to Michael Duignan, trying to set up the first score of the match. Joe Dooley, and that's gone between the posts. Joe Dooley once again coming to Offaly's rescue and getting the first point of the match. It was a lovely hand pass out to Joe Dooley. Didn't have to think about it, instinctively knew where the goalposts were. Well, Joe is a player who's certainly given tremendous service to Offaly down the years. Today it's his 43rd championship match. Here comes Brian Wheelahan, angling that one across towards Dooley again. Starting the match at top of the left. Challenging there Frank Lowen. Michael Duignan taking it, looking for another one, replicating the score just moments ago there from Joe Dooley. And both opening points coming from that right-hand side of the Clare defence. And it's 2 points to no score. So the pressure being put over there on Frank Lohan and Liam Doyle. This time it was Dighton, and Offaly get their second score of the match. Ger Oakley clashing there with Ollie Baker, who breaks his stick. That's gone forward there towards Alan Markham. This time wearing the black helmet, discarded it in the original match. Brian Whelan towards Darren Hannafy, unable to keep that ball in play. And the linesman on this near side today, Eildon Moxivna. And Ger Loughnane, he's the one who's able to patrol up and down the sideline there, following his one match ban from the dugout. Thankfully Anthony Daly's okay. That's Simon Whelan, blocked there well by Brian Quinn, delivered forward again by Johnny Pilkington. Another broken stick, this time it's Liam Doyle breaks the stick. Sean McMahon tries to get that ball out. John Ryan persisting. The hurler come footballer setting up another chance here for Joe Dooley. Joe was tackled late. The save is made there by David Fitzgerald. Joe's up on his feet again, not a man to feign injury. James O'Connor trying to drag that one through the centre here, trying to set up a score for Clare, something just to settle them down. Brian Whelan, part of a seemingly indestructible Offaly half-back line. John Ryan, forward for Darren Hannafy. Game has started in a welter of excitement, a tremendous pace. That's dropping to the left. Well, Brian Lohan was in quickly there just to convince the umpire that it had gone to the left of the post, but the umpire had already made up his mind independently. This was the late tackle here, which was fairly crashingly delivered by Ollie Baker on Joe Dooley. David Fitzgerald again going straight down through the centre. Ger Oakley rises well across towards Michael Dighton, drop hitting this one inside there towards John Troy. Runs on, Joe Dooley's after it. Brian Quinn takes it away for Clare. John Troy after it once again. Clare's calling for it across on the far side of the goal, one of them being Johnny Dooley. That's Rusty Chaplin. Down into the corner there towards Barry Murphy. Murphy's gone over to top of the left to the switch with Alan Markham. Mean on the opposite side here, it's Niall Gilligan trying to set something up, out by Martin Hannamy. Comes back out here to James O'Connor. Wonderful footwork by O'Connor, taking himself away from danger. He puts it over the bar. Clare's first point and arriving after 7 minutes. And it's Jamesy who gets it. Oh, he's had a tremendous championship season so far. Clare's leading point scorer, turning beautifully here, having danced away from a couple of tackles. Stephen Byrne again going down towards that right-hand side of the Clare defence. Sean McMahon hoping to give the leadership alongside there. Liam Doyle, we're still recovering from an injury, of course. It was a real doubt before the first match some 13-14 days ago. Here's Frank Lohan. 15th championship match in the Clare colours, caught there and dropped by Sean McMahon. And really Offaly are chasing after everything, not allowing Clare to settle down at all, but still only a point between the teams. That goes in there towards Gilligan. Kinahan went after it as if his very life depended upon it. Now he's under a bit of pressure. Niall Gilligan dropping this one in, and that has gone to the left. There's Michael Bond, who is the new Offaly manager. He's done a very good job so far. He's taken over a course from Michael Babs Keating. The wind has dropped a little bit, it seems, from the national flag, but looking at the little flags around the ground, it would still seem to be behind Clare in this first half. Anthony Daly, nice ball down. Here's a chance. Gilligan again striking, and he's protesting, but there was a little touch by his man. But Niall Gilligan has now put the last two chances wide of the target. So all the Offaly substitutes have done all the hard work, supporting the likes of Brian Whelan, 100%. Clare bidding to get into their third All-Ireland final in 4 years, a fantastic record. This is taken down brilliantly by Sean McMahon, out to Doyle. Down it goes towards David Force. Ripping it away from him quickly there was Martin Hannamy. Well, Hanamy's still a vital cog in the Offaly full-back line. By far the most experienced man in that last line. Championship debut back in 1987. It's Offaly's sideline ball. They're the two men who were banished this afternoon to the stands. The other two selectors, Tony Considine and Mike McNamara. Kevin Martin whipping it into the centre. Johnny Dooley coming forward to take it, ahead of Brian Quinn. Movement just ahead of them. Darren Hanafy has moved inside there, alongside the orange balloon. David Fitzgerald belting it back defiantly into midfield. Everybody going for it, but it's Ger Oakley who gets it. Brian Quinn has support alongside him if he needs it. Hooked, done well there by Ger Oakley. Oakley getting away, anxious to make an early impression in doing so. Good ball across. Joe Dooley's after it. Lost the stick, however. Frank Lohan has his. Reinforcements arriving fairly quickly. And Liam Doyle picking it out of that little ruck of players. Down to Jamesy O'Connor. He's coming towards midfield. Offaly have started better in that sector. Jamesy's coming in here. Is that a permanent switch into midfield alongside Ali Baker? Seems to be. That's kicked in there, but Hubert Rigney goes back. Two Clare men after him. Alan Markham's the one on the left-hand side. Gilligan was there as well. And the referee saw the foul there on Hubert Rigney, Offaly's team captain. We've got some news from our sideline reporter this afternoon, and that is Marty Morrissey.
Interestingly, Clare have adopted a new style of getting messages to their players. Ger Loughnane has decided to use PJ O'Connell and Michael O'Halloran, two of the stars in 95-97 All-Ireland. They're going on along the sideline giving messages to the players.
Well, let's see how it all pans out as we see the fullback Brian Lohan, marvellous clearance to the centre. Jamesy O'Connor dashing around the place. Good ball downfield, angling that one in there beautifully. Barry Murphy takes it up first time. Here's a chance, great stop, and it's gone for the 65. Good stave by Stephen Byrne. Well, for once, the new man in Barry Murphy got the better of Simon Wheelahan, following this angle pass across here from Jamesy O'Connor. Beautiful pick up initially. Watch as the goalkeeper came out, made the save, and that's the game's first 65. This really was tremendous skill, but it was also a very good chance. Well, using his body well just to deflect that one out. So it's going to be Sean McMahon who'll take the 65 to try and tie up this game. They look at it, give it 100% concentration, and decide that it has got the range, the distance and the accuracy, and it's two apiece. Well, that'll please him a great deal more. Stephen Byrne once again. It's a very fast match. Ollie Baker batting it out here. That's taken up by Alan Markham, who's discarded the black helmet towards Barry Murphy. One-hander trying to get it forward. Support coming in from Fergie Toohey. Murphy has it again. He missed the goal. He has got the point and Clare lead. Barry Murphy from Scariff making it 3 points to 2. Well, Offaly got the first two, settled the better, but Clare have made a 100% recovery, and now they've done even better than that. They're in front through Barry Murphy. Fergie Toohey chasing after this one with Hubert Rigney in there. Toohey made such an impact when he came in the second half, got that important goal for Clare, got 2 other points as well. Here's Ollie Baker. And Pilkington in there. I think he's been given the instruction this afternoon, get in there, make it difficult for Baker to dominate. This is Christy Chaplin. I can tell you that Jamesy O'Connor has gone back into the half-forward line, but he's moving around the place on an almost constant basis. Podge Mulhare there, back in with the County Board Chairman, Brendan Ward, and the other selectors. At the moment, Clare's half-forward line reads O'Connor, Toohey, and the man who's come out there in the last few minutes, Alan Markham. Brian Quinn stays back there, gathers from John Ryan, needs support from Sean McMahon. It's still McMahon. A wonderfully forceful, yet perfectly fair player. John Ryan shakes his head. Referee Jimmy Cooney, of course, former Galway star, giving the signal that the free can be taken by Anthony Daly. Everybody trying to bat it away, including Kevin Martin. Only out as far as Fergie Toohey basically mishit that one. Markham's after it. Kevin Keenahan back there, standing firm, hitting away on his left-hand side. Anthony Daly coming across, getting there ahead of Darren Hanaphy. And that'll be a sideline ball this time. It'll be to Offaly. Michael Bond, of course, headmaster in Loughrea in County Galway, giving some instructions right now to his forwards. In one, it'll be Kevin Martin. Martin, that outstanding half-back line to hit that one. Pressure back on his defence, however. Shoulder isn't terribly effective as Fergie Toohey swings it across the field. Barry Murphy comes out. Simon Wheelahan chasing after it. Barry Murphy again taking on Simon Wheelahan, who'd been dominant in the other exchanges in the championship this season. And this time he puts it to the right of the goal. 4 wides now for Clare. She's still happy. Niall Gilligan is now the man who's playing at full forward for the Banner County. Christy Chaplin rises up, can't take it over. Instead it's the man at right half back, Liam Doyle, down towards Gilligan. David Ford was there as an option. Gilligan blocked down well by Kevin Keenahan. Toohey's after it again. Toohey into the space, still Fergie Toohey, and that's another point for Clare. Clare lead by double scores. Well, they've got such variation in their forward line. They bring in a player like Barry Murphy to freshen things up this week. And Fergie Toohey, of course, who must have been disappointed to be picked in the original game, never started, had a point to prove, and he's still at it. That's a lovely point as he shortened the grip and tapped it over. Anthony Daly batting it back out here to Alan Markham, just 19 years of age, in towards Niall Gilligan. And suddenly it's Clare, slow to start, but now they really are taking command. Gilligan misses, hoots well, and it's gone for a 65. My goodness, when they turn on the pressure here, they show such pace and incredible fitness. Gilligan taking it away from Keenahan. But again, the backs came across to try and cover. Martin Hanamy was there. So Niall Gilligan waits just on the fringe of the small rectangle. Sean McMahon's point of the first 65. Here's another chance for him. Midway through this first half. It's high up into the air. They look and decide that it's right on target again. So a second for McMahon from the 65. Well, in the first match we were admiring the long-range skills of Brian Wheelahan, but today he hasn't had any long-range frees to take. Clare now playing much better, and the referee has seen some pushing. He goes in to have a word there, and a finger wag to John Troy. Troy, who has switched out onto the 40 in a switch with John Ryan. So Ryan is now full forward, John Troy centre half forward. Daly to take the free. Dropping it into that inside forward line. David Ford comes, gets there first. But it's the decisiveness now of the Clare forwards that are making things happen. Rusty Chaplin was in there fancying his chances. Barry Murphy's there too. And Michael Duignan's way back around his own half-back line to help out Brian Wheelahan. Here's Sean McMahon. Well, it's as if Clare were stung by that wonderful start that Offaly made. Those early points from Joe Dooley and from Michael Duignan. Since then, nothing has been seen of the Offaly attack. There's Michael O'Halloran there, that we heard some talk about a little while ago. Michael O'Halloran has certainly shown some great spirit. He was dropped from the team, of course, for the match against Cork, yet he was the one who came into the dressing room and made a rousing speech, by all accounts, that really G'd up his colleagues. Liam Doyle hitting this one. Towards James O'Connor, difficult to contain. Offaly get it, and Johnny Pilkington limps away from that tackle. Paul Mulher back out onto his feet again. Perhaps they're considering a change as Kevin Martin takes the sideline ball towards John Troy, beaten by Ollie Baker, but it runs away from Ollie to Joe Dooley, blocked down by Ollie Baker. First touch and maybe to take it up, however. Dooley trying to get it through. Any style at all will do. Daly's there. And John Ryan has picked the ball off the ground, and that's going to be a free out for Clare. He looks at the referee, but I think he knows exactly why the free's been awarded, and now they want the ball back. Anthony Daly and some others making their point there to young John Ryan. This is how the ball went in there. Down he went and swept it off the ground with his hand, not allowed. And John Ryan is one of these young players who goes in and bustles quite a bit, and is particularly good if he gets some possession to hand pass chances for others like Joe Dooley, who is now in need of the attention. Little blow to the side of the head there, and once again Jimmy Cooney's in swiftly. Joe Erity I've seen being prepared. In fact, he's more than being prepared. Joe Erity has been told to take his tracksuit top off. So there he is. Michael Bond about to make a change. Just nearly 21 minutes gone, and we've got some more news from Marty maybe to confirm that change for us.
Yes, indeed, Joe Erity is going on, and the man that's going to be coming off is Ger Oakley, wearing number 22, who came on as a midfield partner for Johnny Pilkington.
Well, he started well, Ger Oakley, but obviously went out of it in the last 10 minutes. So now we can just see what happened as that ball was picked up. Ahead of him to the right was Joe Dooley. Didn't quite see where he was clipped, but he was injured. Free to Clare. David Fitzgerald, as we confirm the switch made immediately here by Offaly to try and settle things down a bit and get back into the match. That's Gilligan going across there. David Ford there too. Inside towards Fergie Toohey. In the sunshine here at Croke Park. Toohey being forced away from goal because of the persistence of Michael Dignan. Hubert Rigney was also fairly persistent. The referee says play on. They do. Inside towards that Offaly defence. Kevin Keenan put under tremendous pressure. Niall Gilligan leaving it behind. It's Ollie Baker, the Garda based in Ballinasloe in County Galway. Blocked. Back down there to try and help out is Johnny Dooley. Johnny has seen none of the action at all so far. And right now, when you look down the other end of the field where he should be, there's just two men in the inside forward line, really. Well, Johnny Dooley is now racing back to take up his position. He's actually being switched to left half forward. Liam Doyle has it. Driven in towards Barry Murphy. Beyond him. Oh, it's a great goal! Alan Markham. 1-5 to 2 points. 23 minutes into the first half. From this long-range lob by Liam Doyle over the head of Barry Murphy there, but Markham ran onto it and finished splendidly. The first goal of the match has arrived. It's arrived to Clare, the Munster and All-Ireland champions, and there was nothing Stephen Byrne could do about it. Running repairs carried out on the pitch there. That seems to be Barry Murphy. Clipped in the head there as he was rising up for that one. Colin Flynn, the physio, is there alongside Dr. Porrick Gwynn. So after a less than certain start by Offaly, the beaten Leinster finalists, it's Clare who have now really taken command. Johnny Dooley trying to pressurise forward there. It's his brother Joe. Teeing one up here. Here comes Joe Erity. Dragged down. Is that a penalty? Referee says play on. They're still trying to force their way in the end they get a free from the 20-metre line, and it is a penalty. John Ryan, the man who was taken down at the end of it all after Joe Erity had been trying to bulldoze his way through the Clare defence. This was the run of the substitute Erity. That's when he fell down. Referee, I think, got a spot on that time. Now John Ryan, the referee says he was effectively taken down, although from that particular position there it didn't seem so. Jimmy Cooney has awarded a penalty to Offaly. Liam Doyle, David Fitzgerald, Anthony Daly on the goal line. The last time it was Clare who had a penalty saved. Joe Dooley is coming to take it. It's one that Offaly need. They haven't scored since the first 5 or 6 minutes. Here comes Dooley, and it's stopped on the line. They scramble in after it, and that's surely going to be a free out. Everybody was chasing after it. John Ryan being pushed away there by an umpire. Jimmy Cooney allowed it to carry on there. But the penalty effort by Joe Dooley, after lots of fingers have been pointed in the direction of the players on either side, it's going to result in a free out to Clare. Big cheer from the Banner fans, and this is the reason why. Joe Dooley's pile driver stopped by David Fitzgerald, then they all came in after it, and in the end there wasn't much doubt really. So David Fitzgerald having a penalty saved and now being involved in saving one here in this Guinness All-Ireland hurling semi-final replay. Kevin Martin, number 7 there, going across, clashing there with Ollie Baker. David Ford loses it. Martin Hannemy's discarded the helmet. Hand passing in there. Alan Markham is chasing after it, our goal scorer in this first half. Our, in the sense, is the only goal we've had in the match so far. That was Darren Hannafy, was having his jersey pulled. Anthony Daly, the one who was doing the pulling. Here's a free to John Troy. And John was practicing these before the match, and they were all going over the bar. This is just inside the 45-metre line. It should be Offaly's 3rd point. Absolutely spot on. John Troy's first. Didn't play well in the original match, but then he had just recovered from a car accident. Now with an extra 2 weeks to recover, he's taken off the black helmet that he wore on that occasion. Tony Murphy and the rest there have a little conference. They've already made one change, of course, and that was to bring Joe Erity in at centre half forward, by the way. That's missed over there by David Ford, but not by Christy Chaplin. Again, they have a lash at it there, but Rusty just a little out of luck. Won an All-Ireland club medal, of course, with 6 Mile Bridge a couple of years ago. And this is the most successful manager that Clare has ever had. Stephen Byrne. Johnny Dooley breaks it down towards Joe Erity. Christy Chaplin was reading that situation, however. Down the field to the man at top of the right, who is David Ford. Across beautifully there towards Alan Markham. Looking for another score, and Markham has got another one. Saluting that excellent pass. Alan Markham now playing it left half forward. Has got a goal and a point, and it's 1-6 to 3 points. But all of that was made by that wonderful crossfield pass to Alan Markham, and a flawless finish. So about 7 minutes to go to half-time. Ollie Baker breaking this one to himself, quickly getting away from a couple of men. Michael Duignan chasing, Darren Hannafy chasing, John Troy's in there as well. Offaly needing another lift or two before the break. Michael Duignan, that's going to drop to the left, and it goes harmlessly wide. 3 wides for Offaly in this match, 5 for Clare, but then the bulk of the attacking ideas are coming from the Munster county. Christy Chaplin taking that one from the puck out. Drop hitting it across. Michael Duignan's over there now. Michael Duignan's in midfield at this stage of the game. Meanwhile, this is Frank Lohan. His work sometimes goes unnoticed. That's straight to Ollie Baker. It was a great catch by Baker. Well, I'm sure Clare people are saying, shame about the shot. Doesn't score an awful lot. But then again, he has been in terrific form this season in just about every championship match he's played. It's turned into quite a warm afternoon, not as hot by any means, of course, as the drawn match. Jamesy O'Connor unable to get it downfield. Quinn coming to meet it. Brian Quinn stopping it well. And then he was held, lucky enough to get a free there because he was almost overholding. Part of a crowd that has swelled and swelled even since 3:30. Match started a couple of minutes early. It was scheduled to start at 3:35. That's in towards Niall Gilligan. Out it comes again, and Barry Murphy was belting that one, and it's another 65. It's gone off an Offaly back, but he hits on sight. As we watch once again the captain Anthony Daly strike that one way downfield. It came out there to Barry Murphy, just needs that kind of a chance, and he'll have a go. Well, while there's a break in play, let's bring in Marty once again.
Yes, well, it's interesting while that play was continuing on that Ollie Baker immediately called for Colin Flynn to come onto the field to get some medical attention. He obviously has a back problem, but he seems to be okay now.
Also taking the opportunity there to take a little bit of water on. Sean McMahon to take the 65. 2 from 2 so far. It's always a high-risk kind of shot, but he's mastered it. Absolutely brilliantly hit. 365's taken, and it's won 7 to 3 points. Well, just to think that from his 365s, he scored as many points as Offaly have managed in what for them has been a very disappointing first half after a promising start. Jamesy O'Connor goes back to midfield to gather, looking sharp and fit. Hanemy was out there, he was fouled by David Ford, and it'll be a free to Offaly. But Offaly will have it all to do, as they say, in the second half if they're to make a match of this. Place in the final, of course, against Kilkenny at stake on the 13th of September. That's broken down there to Liam Doyle. Good positional work here by Alan Markham, getting away from Johnny Pilkington. Markham injecting pace into the attack, good control as well. 2 players going across to try and dispossess him. That leaves a gap. Barry Murphy has it, hits it first time and drops it over the bar. A goal and 2 points. Barry Murphy getting his second point then, and it's won 8 to 3 points. Well, he really wants to stake a claim for permanent inclusion, I think, as Clare continue to freshen up their forward line. And why not, with players like Barry Murphy around. Broken down by Anthony Daly, one of the longest serving successful captains ever in senior championship hurling. Here's Joe Dooley, it's blocked there however. Frank Lowen's after it again. This time it's Joe Erity, hand passing it outside to John Troy, trying to take it inside the cover of a couple of players on his knees, hand passing it back, but there's nobody there. Christy Chaplin's after it. Well, the idea was good on John Troy's part. Here's Joe Dooley. Kevin Martin, again, look at the pressure that Clare are exerting. But now, the counter-attack. Johnny Pilkington, it's blocked down brilliantly by Alan Markham, the goal scorer in the first half here after 23 minutes. And Marty has some more news.
Yes, just more tactical games that has seemed to have worked so far for Clare in the full forward line. Simon Wheelham and Martin Hanemy have now exchanged corners, a sign that Offaly are worried about their full back line.
Johnny Pilkington hitting this one right in there. Brian Lowen gets there first. John Troy had a swipe at it, but couldn't get a decent connection on the sliotar. And away they come through Brian Quinn. This lovely tidy hurler at left corner back from Tulloch. Christy Chaplin waiting to try and hit that one. Comes back to Joe Erity. Can he give Offaly a lift late in the half? He can't. The shot went to the left. Really frustrating and disappointing for Michael Bond. Successful coach of a Galway under-21 team back in 1983. Well, Offaly are renowned as a side that never give up a challenge. And the challenge this afternoon is huge. Darren Hannafy, Anthony Daly, 65 metres out from his own goal. Where does it end up? It ends up going over the bar. What a lift that will give everybody on the Clare team. The captain from Clare Castle, Dalo himself, as they call him, getting his first point of the afternoon. And it's now 1-9 to 3 points. If you forget the first 6 or 7 minutes of this half, it has been superb from a Clare point of view. Everything they've tried has more or less come off. Baker knocking that one back towards Fergie Toohey. 1 point so far in the match for Fergie, held there by Hubert Rigney. Here's Christy Chaplin on his right-hand side, towards David Ford. Turning away from the target again, trying to eye somebody who's in a better position. He thought Barry Murphy was. Well, it's a first half where Clare have created 17 chances, taken 10 of them. Offaly have created 12 chances, but they've only taken 3. So almost into injury time. Sean McMahon, almost balletic in his movements that time, just holding his footing somehow. It becomes an Offaly sideline ball. So the challengers from Offaly against some vintage stuff from the Clare men this afternoon, as Johnny Pilkington blocks that sideline ball. Christy Chaplin had lost his stick, so he waited for Bacon to come in. Now it's Anthony Daly, straight at Johnny Pilkington. If anybody can do it, it surely is Johnny Pilkington. A point by Pilkington in injury time. His first, and only a 4th for Offaly, and they need every one of them because they have a long, long gap to make up. 8 points behind. David Fitzgerald pucking out. Again, the man they target, Ollie Baker. Chaplin taking the breaking ball. And it all ends up being an Offaly puck out. And I think the referee is giving the signal to players all around that time is just about up. Jimmy Cooney from Galway, the match official, gives the signal for half-time, and Clare are much the happier. Barry Murphy got 2 points, but it was Alan Markham who got the only goal of the match after 23 minutes. Offaly missed a penalty when Joe Dooley's rasping shot was saved on the line by David Fitzgerald. And Offaly, with a gap of 8 points to make up, 35 minutes remaining. Clare much the better in the first half, and at the end it's 1-9 to 4 points. And here's Marty Morrissey.
Pat McLaughlin, Offaly selector. Not a great performance by Offaly in the first half.
No, we're not going well. Clare's all over us. Every section of the field, they're dominating. So we'll have to do something if we want to get back into this game with any chance at all. We're bad everywhere.
Considering that you did have that fairly strong, not very strong, but fairly strong breeze in this first half, are you worried?
Well, the breeze, I don't think the breeze has nothing to do with the way we're hurling. We're just overall by the occasion, I'd say, and maybe in the second half we'll do something different. But if we don't change our tactics, we're not going to be in this game. It's going to be over.
Pat McLaughlin, thank you.
Those days when the senior men on the Offaly team really have to produce if they're to save their team on this occasion. And Billy Dooley, yes, that was the change. Billy Dooley is in, and he's playing at the top of the right. Meanwhile, Brian Wheeler had tried to get that ball away in the company back there of Kevin Martin. Johnny Pilkington adding to it, stopped by Anthony Daly. Looking for the first point of the second half. Alan Markham has a shot and a score. What a match he's playing. That's a goal and 2 points for Alan Markham. Picking up every loose ball that comes his way. And it's 1-10 to 4 points. This was the shot again coming out here to Alan Markham from some distance out. What a terrific score. So Clare making the best chances, taking most of them. It's Markham again who hits this one, but that was an almost impossible one. And I suppose when you're as confident as he is, this man can't be too confident right now of Offaly's chances. That's Michael O'Halloran there, in with a point to one of the Clare players. Broken down again by Johnny Dooley, and a bit of a wild pull. The referee waving a finger there at Jamesy O'Connor. Jamesy needing a replacement stick. So it gives Brian Whelan his first chance of coming up to try and get a score from a long-range point. It's just inside the 65-metre line. Dropping right in there, Liam Doyle. Well, I think Brian Whelan was trying to lob that one in the hope that somebody might get a stick to it and finish it to the net. Trying to take it up again and try to take it away from Ollie Baker. Whelan against Baker. The hand pass inside towards Joe Dooley, partially stopped there by Liam Doyle, and that was enough. Dooley whipping on it in there, putting the pressure on Brian Lohan. Joe Erity's in there, and a reshaped, Offaly full forward line. Lohan getting it away. Out it comes here to Johnny Dooley. Blocked down brilliantly. Again, it's Alan Markham playing a wonderful match in the Clare colours. Johnny Dooley, he's well and truly bottled up down there. So the free in will be taken once again by John Troy. A point from a free in the first half, but that only one of 4 points that Offaly have managed on what's so far a disappointing day for them. Here's another chance, and that's gone to the left. So 2 frees in the second half, one by Brian Wheelahan and now one by John Troy, failing to produce anything. This was the earlier one, and you'd have expected him to put it over the bar, but he failed to do so. Good work by Liam Doyle. David Fitzgerald pucking out towards Fergie Toohey, stopped by Joe Dooley. Again it drops short. David Fitzgerald getting it away out to Frank Lohan. What a wonderful match so many of these Clare players are having this afternoon. Jamesy O'Connor trying to get it out to Christy Chaplin, stopped by a combination there of Brian Wheelahan and Hubert Rigney. Ollie Baker coming in to exchange some pleasantries with Brian Wheelahan. Christy Chaplin, a rare championship outing for him this afternoon. This is that long-range shot again, and it drops into the goalkeeper's arms, and he's able to set up a counter-attack. Hubert Rigney to take this one. Dropped in there, everybody trying to get onto it. Joe Erity was the one trying to get the smash on it. That's Billy Dooley. Didn't start, but in from the beginning of the second half. Johnny Pilkington, big chase after him, and still Brian Quinn. Now Ollie Baker swung around. Frustration there very evident in Johnny Pilkington's actions, and the referee taking action. Free to Clare. And I think down in the defence they're trying to get some attention for Brian Lohan, who's got a head injury. Well, no side could afford to miss their valiant leader in defence. This afternoon he's come back into the action after a month's suspension, now needing attention, but having a fabulous game as usual. This is what happened just a moment ago there. The hurley was swung, I think it was by Joe Erity. And thankfully Brian Lohan wears that helmet, which gives him quite a bit of protection. May just have been caught there on the side, however. As usual, Colin Flynn comes in there to attend, along with the team doctor. That was the smash, and the helmet came off, in fact, at the impact, so the helmet wasn't properly tied on. And we can go back to Marty for some more news.
Interestingly, Gerlach Nan immediately called Bernard Scanlon from Clarecastle to warm up along the sideline, just in case Brian Lohan was unable to continue. Also, from a tactical point of view, the most common word used by Gerlach Nan this afternoon in terms of his vocabulary has been out, out, out. He wants them to open it out as much as possible.
They're opening it up now in front of that Offaly defence. Michael Duignan's gone back. He seems to be playing at left half back for the second half. David Ford trying to chip it back to somebody coming through from the centre. Ollie Baker was one of those. Duignan's after him. Ollie shortens the grip on the stick and scores a fine point. This is a fantastic performance by the All-Ireland champions, showing us just why they are champions, and leading by 111 to 4 points. Every attack, when that ball goes down into the Offaly defence, you think at the end of it it's going to produce a shot and a score. This time it did. Can Offaly get a big lift? Johnny Pilkington hand passing it towards Billy Dooley, having to work for that one to get it away from Baker. Back, that time towards his brother Johnny. And Johnny Dooley tries to get this ball up onto his hand. The hand pass was hit hopefully, really. There wasn't any Great expectation, it seemed, that the ball was going to go anywhere in particular, but that time it's Johnny Pilkington who's been fouled by Sean McMahon. But the same cohesion is not so far in the Offaly ranks. They look a bit disappointed up there. This should be another Offaly point. John Troy, he's had about 3 frees so far, and this one he sweeps casually over the bar. Lovely stroke, deadly accurate, and it's 111 to 5 points. But Offaly needing a big lift from somebody somewhere, a bit of inspiration maybe. We're now almost 9 minutes into the second half. David Fitzgerald pucks out, both sets of supporters trying to get their sides going. That's Hubert Rigney. Joe Dooley trying to step away from Jamesy O'Connor. Brian Lohan recovered. That time it's Joe Erity's helmet who fell off his head. Johnny Pilkington, who got that last touch. Referee says that was Johnny Pilkington, and that's going to be a puck out. David Fitzgerald pucking out. Right into the half-forward line towards Fergie Toohey. Got a touch on it, broke his stick. Christy Chaplin in there trying to put pressure on Brian Wheelahan. Hubert Rigney, lovely turn, sweeping it down towards Billy Dooley. That's a great catch by Billy. Can Billy urge his side on with a couple of really inspiring scores? Hubert Rigney coming across, Michael Dignan taking it, however. Simon Wheelahan down towards John Troy. Johnny Pilkington now playing in among the forwards. Sean McMahon, tremendous clearance, broken down again towards Fergie Toohey. Michael Dignan operating in this second half in the half-back line, and the referee is in quickly, seeing the foul blow. Michael Dignan being called across. This is what happened. They were putting pressure on him there, David Ford, and he was caught and retaliated. Michael Dignan then having the lecture and the name taken. Well, the last thing that Offaly would want would be to lose a man at this stage in the second half. The booing is from the Clare fans. They saw that as deliberate striking and felt it should have been a sending off offence. Jamesy O'Connor to take this free for Clare. It's all going so well for them. 2 points for Jamesy, and it's 112 to 5 points. Fans on their feet waving their colours. Stephen Byrne with the puck out towards Joe Dooley, stopped by Liam Doyle, showing that he's more or less back to 100% fitness. David Ford. Ford hasn't scored in the match so far. Hubert Rigney, nice sidestep to get it away from Jamesy. Kevin Martin's across there. Huge one downfield, but Billy Dooley just looks back towards Kevin Martin and says, come on, give us a chance, or words to that effect. And again, the Clare coach won't be happy, I think, until they're winning by 7 or 8 points with about 30 seconds remaining. Christy Chaplin going to contest that one. Here's Barry Murphy trying to pick that ball up. His first major match here at Croke Park. Alan Markham there clearly fouling. Brian Wheelahan, the player who was going to the ground. So that'll be a free out for Offaly. And Alan Markham is really fired up in this match, enjoying himself as John Ryan has made way. And the fresh man in is Gary Hannafy. Darren Hannafy, by the way, was the man taken off at half-time from what I can see here. Meanwhile, that's Joe Dooley, and that's gone off the crossbar and it's gone over the bar. Joe Dooley got the first point in this match, and now he's got a second, and Offaly have 6 in total. And the Offaly fans now trying to roar on their encouragement. That went off the top of the crossbar and over. And the point credited to Joe Dooley from Sir Kieran's in Clare, tiny little village down in Offaly. Brian Wheelahan bats this one into the centre to Joe once again. Down towards the other Joe, Joe Erity. First touch not good. Brian Lohan getting it up at the second attempt. Good clearance towards Fergie Toohey. Everybody on the Clare team anticipating, supporting, backing one another up. Liam Doyle. That's a good catch there, taken nicely by Hubert Rigney. Into the space there towards Gary Hannafy, the new man in towards Joe Erity. Can they get a lift here? He tries to go through again. Drop hitting it. John Troy's after it. Frank Lohan's there as well. They're still in there trying to get this ball in or out, depending on which way you're playing. Brian Quinn very definitely playing out. And Brian Lohan making that sweeping clearance back out from whence it all came. That was from Gary Hannafy. One Hannafy may have left, the other is playing, and he's put that one to the left. "14 minutes are gone in the second half. Clare still by far the more commanding side, the more likely side. David Fitzgerald. Alan Markham goes over there to challenge. This is Martin Hannamy on Barry Murphy. You heard there earlier about the switch of the cornerback. Simon Wheelahan is now left cornerback. Putting up the hand there was Brian Quinn. This is Brian Wheelahan. Look at the pace he's showing. The dash of a forward. Drop hitting this one. Partly blocked. Hannafi's after it. They're all after it. Erity's after it as well. Offaly looking for a little break from somewhere. That's Joe Erity. This is Liam Doyle. That's a terrific clearance. They get under pressure. You'd expect the pressure to come from Offaly. That's exactly what's happening. Here's Johnny Dooley. And Johnny Dooley's shot has dropped over the bar. First point by Johnny. The three Dooleys, of course, now very firmly on the field. Part of the Offaly attack as before. It's back to as you were at half-time. The margin is 8 points. Offaly are a team that never give up. Relish a challenge, relish a fight. There's still plenty of time. Michael Duignan going back into that half-back line. Here's Simon Wheelahan hitting it down. Clare have superior fitness, it seems, but they may well need it if Offaly can apply good pressure. Wheelahan again up there in the forward. Here's a goal chance, John Troy. Out they come. And the shot has gone in. It's buried, and Billy Dooley has got it. We said they'd never give up. They haven't. And 16 minutes into the second half, Billy Dooley has put just 5 between them. There was real intense pressure on that Clare back line. Too much pressure on this occasion, and Billy whipped it into the back. Troy might have got it. First touch not great. Quinn was trying to get away from goal, but Dooley put it beyond David Fitzgerald. Now we should have some last 19-18 minutes of this All-Ireland semi-final. Kevin Martin. Fergie Toohey. It was 9 points of a gap just a few minutes ago. James O'Connor wanted to keep Clare's supremacy and dominance, and he's got his 3rd point. An excellent contest during the second half. Scores going this way and that, and there may be a change of the Sparrow may be about to come in. He's getting prepared. Clare feel they're in a bit of a crisis, having dominated for most of the match. Well, that switch of Brian Wheelahan in towards a more attacking position has certainly paid healthy dividends so far. Martin Hannamy. Dropped down again. Once more, it's Brian Wheelahan in the half-forward line. John Troy comes racing out to try and take it from Liam Doyle. Going further out from goal, back to Johnny Dooley, trying to steady himself, expecting the block from Baker. Never quite came, but it's raining in there on the Clare backs again. Sean McMahon knocking it away here out towards Frank Lohan. So Lohan against Billy Dooley. The hand pass securely effected there towards Ollie Baker. Ollie in towards his quarter forward position, and that's David Ford, and David Ford not really dominating Simon Wheelahan. Appeals all around. Michael Bodkin is the linesman from Dublin down here. It's going to be a Clare ball. Whelan again, they're having some words. Well, the free of the sideline ball coming up in just a second, and we'll have some further information for you from the sideline in just a moment here. Maybe we can take it now, in fact. Well, here comes Ollie Baker. Back there is Johnny Dooley, as defiant as ever. Towards John Troy. Frank Lohan was trying to make the block. Here's his brother Brian. Brian Whelan in there, chasing him, now in around full forward. John Troy coming out here, steadying himself. A great block down by Sean McMahon. That was wonderful play by the centre-half back. Outside to Christy Chaplin in midfield. Chaplin in there. And that's just to the left. Third wide of the second half for Clare, and 10th and all. And now we can get some news from the sideline.
Yes, well, the man who just shot that ball wide could well be leaving the scene in a moment. Christy Rusty Chaplin, I expect, will be departing. The man that's coming on is Eamon Taff from Tubber.
So Eamon Taff is the one rather than the Sparrow whom they're about to bring in. Here's Ollie Baker. Stepping around a third Offaly man to get that ball downfield towards David Ford. Opting to pick it up and turn inside. Kevin Keenahan, and the man who took him down is Michael Duignan, who's already been booked in this match. And again, he's lucky. Nothing terribly malicious in this, but he did take him down. It was a high challenge, and in the past you might have expected a booking for that. Jimmy Cooney says play on. Offaly still with their full complement. Duignan going back on the line, now operating at left half back. Jamesy O'Connor striking it, and Jamesy has been clinical with those frees. That's the 4th point this afternoon for Jamesy O'Connor, and now there are 7 points between the teams. And Eamon Taff, the number 23, has just given the little slip of paper to the match referee. So he's in, no indication of anybody going off just yet. They now have 4 men in the full forward line. And Niall Gilligan is now moving out, but nobody's got a clue who's going off. We thought it might be Christy Chaplin. Christy's been given instructions to switch. Is it David Ford? He's coming back. They just wouldn't take anybody off until they had the right man in position, and Christy Chaplin has now gone off, and Jamesy O'Connor has gone to midfield. Clare with a 7-point lead. Michael Duignan right through the centre of that defence. Doherty, here's a chance again for Offaly. He's taken down, and it's a penalty. It's a second penalty for Offaly. The first one was saved. Brian Lohan picking himself off the ground, but the pressure once again coming in there from Joe Erity, really driving through the centre of that defence. Going for it, Brian Lohan dragged him down. Referee had no doubt. 3 men on the goal line. Same 3 as before. Doyle, Daly, the 2 wing backs. And in the middle, David Fitzgerald. This time to take it, it's going to be the man who was dragged down, Joe Erity from Burr. Can he score and put just, 4 points between the teams? Referee trying to make sure everybody's outside the exclusion zone. He drives it and he scores! "22 minutes into the second half. It's 2:14. It's 1:14 to 2:7. This was Joe Erity coming up, and that was Joe Erity beating the defence. A second goal in the second half to Offaly, and now the margin down to 4 points, and Offaly will believe that they're still in with a chance. Gary Hannafy driving that one in, but he's put it to the left. John Troy looking back at him. Podge Mulhare, one of the selectors, along with Pat McLaughlin, of course, and Michael Bond, the manager. Offaly asking serious questions of that Clare full back line. Johnny Pilkington. Has he got the energy to keep going in there? Johnny Dooley in midfield. Nicely forward there. Here they come once again. The hand pass outside there was by Billy Dooley. Brian Lohan going back. And Brian Lohan was being held back and fouled, and that's going to be a free out. What a switch that is. Brian Wheelahan up there on the opposing full-back, Brian Lohan. Wheelahan ordered early, a most commanding right half-back. Young and old are enjoying it. Clare looking handsome winners. Now some serious questions to be asked. 11 minutes remaining. 4 points the difference. Who can get the next score? Jamesy O'Connor trying to get in. Hubert Brigney trying to steal that ball away. It's Jamesy wriggling his way this way and that like a little eel. And that has gone to the left. Well, whenever he comes out of their forward line, they say that a certain dimension is taken from the potency of their six-man attack. He's back in midfield right now as the puck out's been taken. It's Baker and it's O'Connor in midfield, and that's carried out over the sideline by Sean McMahon. Are Clare beginning to show little gaps in their self-confidence? They were looking so assertive. Offaly were just playing as individuals, but those goals have changed it. Here's Joe Dooley, veteran campaigner. That's gone away to the right towards Billy, his brother. Alongside him there is Brian Quinn. Quinn with a neat pick-up. Little block on that one if it comes back to Offaly once again, and that has gone away to the right. He'll be disappointed, Billy Dooley. Well, the full forward line right now, as it has been for the last few minutes, has been Billy Dooley, Brian Wheelahan and John Troy. An interesting formation. Johnny Dooley's out in midfield alongside Johnny Pilkington, and it's O'Connor and Baker, as I told you. That's Johnny Dooley back. Brian Wheelahan and Drew Erigy trying to get possession. Back it comes to the man in the middle there. Ollie Baker with the hand pass to Daly. Up towards Niall Gilligan. Kevin Keenan. Poor clearance, straight to Barry Murphy. And that has gone away to the left. Well, just a reflection on the substitution that brought Eamon Taff in by Ger Loughnane. He didn't take off his midfield player until everybody was picked up, because he feared, I think, a quick puck out by Offaly. This puck out here has resulted in some holding, and Billy Dooley has engineered another free. And John Troy will come across and take it. 2 points from 3 frees so far by John Troy. If he gets this one, with about 8 minutes to go, there'll be just 3 points or a goal between the teams. So a crucial free coming up here. He's got it. 3 points for John Troy. 3 points between them. And the faithful county still have the faith and belief in their side. The beaten Leinster finalists are just off the mark. The crowds here raising the decibel level once again. It's wonderful spectacle, it's wonderful entertainment, some great hurling, and a match which has certainly come alive with Offaly's improvement in the second half. Jamesy O'Connor, quick to respond, and that's a lovely point. 5 points by Jamesy O'Connor. Whenever they're in trouble, he can pick up the ball and put it over. Pressure back again on the Clare defence. Anthony Daly. We'll have some more news from the sideline just when that 4 goes out of play, but right now it's Michael Dignan waiting for Hubert Rigney to come on to him. Look at the pressure again applied by David Ford in this particular instance. That's a great block down. Alan Markham sailing forward. Markham for Clare. Another point. What a terrific performance by this youngster. A goal and 3 points, and it's 116 to 2-8. It's wonderful entertainment, but suddenly Clare have got themselves back into a position of dominance, and they lead by 5 points. Gary Hannaby's picked it up. It's blocked down there by Sean McMahon. Anthony Daly trying to get that ball out. This is Johnny Dooley. momentarily stopped. Down into the corner, Joe Errity's after it. Brian Lohan trying to deny him, and it's gone out over the end line, and it's a 65, and maybe now we can have that news from Marty Morrissey.
Yes, well, Ger Loughnane has just told PJ O'Connell to go down to the far side, and the positional switch has been made. Barry Murphy is now at full forward with Niall Gilligan from 6 Mile Bridge on the way.
So change is made. No change in the 65-metre free taker, however, on the Offaly side, and that is Brian Wheelahan. He drops it in this time, batted out by Sean McMahon. Billy Dooley picking it up, trying to go through on Quinn. The shot, and that has gone over the bar, I think. Billy Dooley with another score. That's a goal and a point now for him. So back to 4 points of a difference. Baltimore hair up and down the whole time. They look uneasy, but it was Clare who were looking uneasy for moments during the second half. Great match. David Fitzgerald's huge puck out. Hubert Rigney breaking it down from David Ford to Johnny Pilkington. Remember the point he got the last day? Remember the goal he got as well? Here he comes once more. Running right through the heart of the Clare defence, laying it off now. Johnny Dooley, and the referee, seeing some elbowing and jostling, has whistled up the match. Just threatening to get ugly and out of hand for a moment. Referee having his hands around Johnny Pilkington there, trying to calm things down a bit in front of an attendance today of 38,015. So the referee isolating a couple of players. Johnny Pilkington on the left-hand side there. Concern there on the face of Michael Bond. So Niall Gilligan and Johnny Pilkington both having their names taken. It all ends in handshakes. The referee who has played this game knows it so terribly well. Anxious to keep the flow at all times. But that's a good attendance this afternoon, 38,000. It was 37 for the drawn match. There are 4 minutes left, plus perhaps a bit of stoppage time. Referee's going to throw the ball in. Brian Wheelahan making himself available. And it said it's going to be Erity and somebody else. Ollie Baker may have been that somebody else. Gary Hannicky whipping on it on the ground there. That's a beautiful pick up there by Brian Wheelahan. The referee saw the earlier foul, however, for wonderful composure by Wheelahan. The man who started the day at half-back didn't have a particularly good first half, but then so many of his colleagues failed to shine. Switched into the forwards to take this free and try and cut it down to a 3-point difference once more. He's going for it. He's got it. Brian Wheelahan's point coming with about 3 minutes to go. And it's 116 to 210. And that is 19 points to 16. His side trailing. A place in the All-Ireland final against Kilkenny at stake. And this replayed Guinness semi-final. All eyes, possession vital. Hubert Rigney has it, the centre half back for Offaly. Can't get a good connection on it. Ollie Baker's there. Got to take it away from his man near the sideline. Barry Murphy now at full forward against Kevin Keenahan. Keenahan into the centre. Fortunate that there weren't too many Clare players there. Joe Dooley was able to take it away from one of them at least. Now Hubert Rigney comes back there off Niall Gilligan. Michael Dignan trying to get it down. Stalemate. Referee may just throw it in. What a finish we're having here. Offaly, who never really yielded to any opposition, even to the Munster and All-Ireland champions, gave it the roll in the second half, had to make up an 8-point gap. That may prove decisive before the end of this. That's away by Kevin Martin, not too far. Keenahan trying to get it out. Barry Murphy trying to get it back in. This is the man. And the referee has blown up his whistle, but I think he's blown up before time. think there were 2 minutes left. Colin Flynn. Clare have won it by 3 points. But on my watch here, there are another 2 minutes to go. Now I wonder, are they discussing that? Well, it's handshakes all around. And Clare, with Offaly going into protest to Jimmy Cooney. Now I wonder, has he got the message? The officials ring quickly as well. It's the first time I've seen that happen. Tony Considine's down there. Michael Vaughan's coming across as well to speak with the referee. I can tell you that the teams for the next match are already out on the field. But on my watch, there were still 2 minutes to go. The Kerry and Kildare teams are out for their particular match. Well, that is a strange finish. Time ran out, and it ends with Clare winning by 116 to 210. Jimmy Cooney is escorted off the field, a central figure in this afternoon's semi-final, a final that didn't quite go the 70 minutes. And I'm certain that Offaly will protest, but being the model sports people they are, they will accept, I'm sure, also that Clare are the team that will be facing Kilkenny in this year's All-Ireland final. Clare then in a third final in 4 years. A great fight back by Offaly, and it finishes with 3 between them. Clare, still the All-Ireland champions, 116. Offaly, 2 goals and 10. And let's go down now and talk to Marty once again.
Thank you very much. I'm joined here by Tony Considine. Tony, Clare are in the All-Ireland final.
I'm delighted, Marty. We're all thrilled, as you can see, the big crowd here from Clare today. It's fantastic to win the All-Ireland. It's our third All-Ireland final in 4 years, and we're delighted to win the All-Ireland. Probably a bit of controversy going on here, but I know it's going on. I didn't keep the time of the game, but we're in the All-Ireland final, that's all that matters.
Overall, a good performance by Clare, although there were times when Offaly really put it up to you.
Yeah, Offaly, I suppose, were a bit, you know, they fought back. We knew that at half-time they would fight back. But at the end of the day, all that matters now in the semi-final is to win it. We're in the final, and we're looking forward to it.
OK, let me congratulate Gerald O'Connell, Clare manager. A lot of heated argument going on here behind you. Just let me ask you about, what did you think of the time?
Oh, definitely. There was only 33 minutes gone in the second half, so Jimmy obviously made a mistake, but I suppose the referee's decision is final. But we have to, all of us have to admit that a mistake has been made by the referee. 33 minutes were gone, there was at least 2 minutes left, maybe even 3 counting injury time, so we have to be fair. We're glad to be in the All-Ireland, but it's not a satisfactory way. But everybody makes mistakes. Obviously Jimmy made a mistake today, but whether to affect the result or not, then we debate it, whatever.
Clare has been a lot of controversy recently, but this is one that they didn't create.
Oh, exactly. But often the people here, as you can see, are very angry, and why wouldn't they be? You know, exactly. They feel they have been begun, and I mean, a mistake has been made. No doubt about that. We're the first mistake.
Gerald O'Connell, thank you very much indeed. Back to Michael Lester.
Yeah, Marty Morrissey, there's no doubt about it, a mistake has been made, and obviously we can only speculate at this stage as to what the consequences of that are going to be. Obviously, Offaly are going to protest, and they're going to launch an appeal against this. There could well be a replay, yet again, of this All-Ireland semi-final. I'll talk to the panel about that after this commercial break. Offaly supporters have come onto the pitch and are now staging a protest over this semi-final replay. There was to have been an under-21B match starting. That game has now been disrupted as the Offaly supporters lodge their visible protest to the GAA. One of the players involved in this, Brian Wheelahan, is now talking to Marty Morrissey.
Thank you very much, Michael. Brian Wheelahan, just give me your version of exactly what happened to you personally on the field in the last few moments.
Well, Martin and Jimmy Cooney, referee blew the whistle for full time. I knew there was something wrong because just before that, Aidan McSweeden was after telling me there was 4 minutes left, and the ball was only poked out and threw in, and that was the end of it, you know. We definitely knew there was injury time on top of normal time to go, and as you can see, everyone is mystified here, and like we feel like, you know, as if we've been sort of robbed again, you know, and it's just fierce disappointing, you know.
I know you haven't had a chance to talk to some of your colleagues, but I'm looking at them here. They're heartbroken.
Oh, like, you know, we've trained very hard for this, and I know it probably didn't show in the first half, but I think we showed a great bit of character by coming back in the second half, and like we were coming strong towards the end, and like I think Clare probably were a little bit worried as well, and you know, we're totally dejected. Like we had a very bad bereavement this morning with the loss of one of our players' fathers, Paddy Mulher, and you know, just this on top of it makes it a very, very bad day in Offaly, you know.
Ger Loughnane, in an interview with me just a few moments ago, conceded that possibly the referee has made a mistake was made, and Clare have admitted that immediately after the...
Sound there from Marty Morrissey in the middle of all that, but as you can see from the pictures, the Offaly crowd continue to pour onto the pitch. Now, an appeal had been made to both sets of supporters before the game for nobody to come onto the pitch because of this match that is coming up between Kildare and Laois that is to follow this game. However, or Kildare and Kerry, I should say, that is to follow this game. However, as you can see, the Offaly crowd are incensed by what has happened here. Cyril Farrell, there's no question the match was blown up early. Let's take that as read. The question is, what is going to happen now?
Well, I expect that Offaly will lodge an appeal to the GAC. I don't know what can happen as such. I suppose, you know, the usual thing the GA is that the referees run is final, but there's no doubt about it, there's over 2 minutes left. But I think, Michael, it might have repercussions down the line in the sense that the referee has the discretion of adding on injury time as well. Now here, he has made a genuine mistake, and maybe the GA should, in their wisdom, see to it like that the referee has no control over the time at all. Maybe there's a timer that, you know, when there are injuries that takes on it, there's a big hooter like in other games, or maybe someone else done it. But like, there's no doubt about it, Ger Loughnane knew on his stopwatch there's over 2 minutes left. The players are mystified, and Offaly are staging hopefully a peaceful protest anyway. You can't blame them as such because Offaly came back from the dead. They had only 4 points scored at half time. They scored 2-6. Typical Offaly, tore into the second half, and we're getting on top of such. Now they were still 3 points down. Now, whether they've got or not, no one knows. But they have a justified, you know, they have a justified thing for protesting.
Oh, they certainly have. I mean, if it was 2 minutes, and in fact it was probably more. I think as Ger Loughnane said there would have been injury time as well to Moss Mackay. So it was probably more like 3 minutes. 3 points down is the puck of the ball. Offaly, we presume, are going to lodge a protest.
I would think so. And
when the protest is heard, presumably by the Games Administration Committee, they can't say that no, the time was correct. So what are they going to do about it?
I don't know. We're looking at another replay at this stage because I don't think they will give another replay. I think it's probably going to be taken as it is today, and unfortunately, it's Offaly are probably going to lose out again. And we've seen in the past with 3 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go, Offaly being the stronger team and come back and got goals against Limerick that won an All-Ireland title, and they feel themselves. And Brian Whelan is right. I mean, they had the unfortunate death of one of their father's players this morning, and that was upsetting enough, and this is very upsetting to their supporters as well. They were coming back very strongly into the game, even though Clare were 3 points ahead, and they feel aggrieved at that.
It was quite extraordinary, sir, from looking at this game from Offaly's point of view, that at one stage they were dead and buried in this game. I mean, one of you said in the panel here, they were going to be crucified in this match. And yet, once again, I mean, it's almost like a myth at this stage. They were coming back to a situation where they might have won that game.
Well, to be fair to the managers of Offaly, they did a great switch. And Michael Dyke went more or less out midfield, went back in a powerful game. Johnny Dooley went to midfield. And Brian Lohan, who had started midfield, said that bound up full forward, and he had a great come up there. George, they come on and led, like, used his strength a lot. So in actual fact, like, they got their, as the game was going on, they were getting more and more into the game. And these fellas started the end of the game with a scruff of the neck. But you can't take away from Clare either, Michael, in the sense like they were still taking their scores here and there. James hopped over a few, Alan Martin got a few, you know, Gilligan, James, like they were all, Barry Murphy were tipping one here and there, and they were still at 3 points up with 2 minutes to go. What's going to happen, I don't know. You'll be hoping that, you know, it's hard to see a replay, maybe bring them back out and give them 5 minutes to play, but it's hard the way things are going on here now.
Yes, just as a matter of interest, 1947 a similar incident happened between Galway and Kilkenny, actually, Cyril, in a championship match. The referee blew the game off 5 minutes early. Galway were leading by 3 or 4 points, I think, at the time. Their mistake was realised. The players were sent back out onto the field, and Kilkenny won by a point at the end. I can't see the players coming back out onto the field here this afternoon. Although I can't see this Offaly support going home either for some considerable time.
It's just with the other officials, like, I mean, as Brian Whelan said himself, he was told by Dan McSweden at Sydney that there was 4 minutes left in the game. Surely, bit of God, the referee must, when the furrow had erupted there after the game, surely, bit of God, the linesmen or the umpires must have gone to him and said, look, you played too less of time. You haven't finished the game properly on time, and immediately they should have restarted the game again, but it left it develop, and whoever sent out the two teams out onto the field for the second game were very, very quick off the mark as well, because no sooner had he blown the whistle and the two teams are out on the field.
Yes, well, we saw Paul Jamal here there, a discussion with a gentleman that my 9-year-old son Mark will know watching this game, as he's headmaster in his school. They're obviously talking about what took place here, and Cyril Farrell, as I said, this is going to have to wait for some time, maybe another day, maybe Monday, before we get a decision on this. One decision that yourself and Tomas have made before we wrap up here at Croke Park. We have 1 minute left. Your man of the match selection.
Yeah, we picked one of the new guys today. He had a fantastic game. His first real big game at Croke Park. Alan Marker from Kilmaley. He scored 1-3 from Clare, and he was a turn in Clare side the whole time. Played wing forward, played corner forward, got a fantastic goal. Had one of these games like that you don't have often in Croke Park, especially for your first real big one in it. And like he's nailed down his pace for the next day. So he's a good recipient of the watch tonight.
All right, so congratulations to Alan Markin on this particular occasion. That's where, well, we must leave it here at Croke Park for the moment. As I said before, no sign of the Offaly supporters leaving for some time yet, I suspect. We're back, of course, again tomorrow, the first of the All-Ireland football semi-finals between Galway and Derry. Tyrone, of course, and Leitrim will be involved in the first game. That will be a poignant occasion for both of those sides. I hope that you'll be able to join me again. Let's hope we don't quite have the controversy we've seen here this evening. Profile these days as controversy struck again at the end of their semi-final replay yesterday. We look back at the abbreviated round 2 as round 3 approaches. Galway came to Croke Park today with 32 years of disappointment on a Saturday afternoon on which the victims of the Omagh bomb blast were remembered in a special service. And then there was that ending to the match. Ger Canning takes us through the highlights.
Well, let's have a look then at the two teams starting
Saturday next at Semple Stadium at 3:30. Now, how that came about we'll be looking at in a moment. But first, Cyril Farrell. Let's be blunt about this. Offaly are very lucky here. They had 3 minutes maybe to find 3 points, which means they probably needed a goal. They now have 70 minutes and the scores are level.
Well, to be fair to Offaly, Michael, like, they have a great record of coming back from the dead. And even the second half there was a point in the second half, they were 10 points down. And again, they threw caution to the wind. Doherty and Billy Dooley came on. The teams really started playing well. Brian Whelan, who wasn't having a great game by his standards, wound up in the forwards, and they started getting into momentum. But on the stopwatch, there was 2 minutes, 9 seconds left. And Jimmy Cooney made a genuine mistake. That's what was left on it. Now, psychologically, Offaly are in a stronger position the next day, because when this ball goes in here, like even in this ball here comes out here, you're going to see that Barry Murphy actually from Scariff, who wasn't supposed to start but had a very good game. He's actually on the ball when the referee blows the whistle. Now, whatever way Jimmy had a time.
See, the linesman there looks at his watch for a start off. Obviously, there's no point in speculating at this stage as to just exactly why Jimmy blew up early. A genuine mistake. It's the consequences of it now that obviously at this stage that we have to look at. Do you think that Offaly could have got back into this?
I believe, well, knowing the record, you could never say that they wouldn't, but I thought that Clare were going to win it. There were 3 points up, there was less than 3 minutes to go. Now, there was 2 minutes 9 seconds to go, and there probably would have been injury time. But I think for next Saturday, psychologically, Offaly are in a very strong position.
When Jimmy realised his mistake at this stage, do you think that was the point, before all of this happened and before the Offaly supporters came onto the field, that he should have said, whoops, lads, we need another 2 minutes here, let's clear the pitch?
I think, to be fair to him, Michael, that's what he was trying to do. But all of a sudden you had security men and everyone around, and cameramen. There was 30 or 40 in a second, and next thing he was shepherded out, and the whole thing, the 2 under-21 things come out very fast as well, and the whole thing seemed to be taken out of his hands.
Well, credit then to the Games Administration Committee, because they were originally due to meet tomorrow afternoon, but decided to get a decision in the public arena as early as possible. Now, the relevant rule that applied to the situation was Rule 137, which states, in essence, that if the game is disrupted by players or, say, team mentors, well, they forfeit the match. But if the game fails to run its course for any other reason, it must be replayed. Well, it didn't run its course yesterday, so we're off to Tipperary on Saturday. And after Tipperary on Saturday, Cyril, who's going to win it? Offaly don't particularly like Semple Stadium.
It's funny, Michael. for a great hurling team, and they are a great hurling team, Offaly, they have a very poor record in Semple Stadium, and they don't like going there at all. Now, they're even complaining about going there. I think Offaly are lucky to get a replay. OK, the rule is there, and they deserve a replay. But, like, you'd have to give credit to Clare, because they were ahead for 67 minutes, or very near it, and, like, they have to go out and try. Offaly are getting 70 minutes, whereas the last stage only had 3 to do it. And they're in a strong position, because they'll have learned from this, and they really only played for about 20 minutes the last day. Clare have it all to do again, but Clare will like Turles.
Yeah. Well, what was the Clare reaction to all of this, we wondered? Official reaction now from Ger Loughnane, and first from Father Michael McNamara, who's the Vice Chairman of the Clare County Board.
This time yesterday we were in the All-Ireland final. Today we're back in the semi-final. So naturally there's a little bit of disappointment, but we accept the situation as it is, and the situation is that the referee made a genuine mistake in regard to the time, and unfortunately that's the way it is. And GSC decided that, in fairness to everyone, that a replay would be in order, and we're quite happy to accept that. We accept the ruling, and we'll be there on Saturday. We'll fight our corner, and hopefully we can get through to the All-Ireland final in the second Sunday in September.
This clears the air completely, and I think at the end of the day it's the best result for everybody. There'll be nothing left hanging in the air, and I think, in fairness to the GAC, they acted quickly, you know, having the meeting this morning at 10 o'clock and in making a swift decision, so that everybody knows now exactly what the situation is, and everybody now can get ready for next Saturday in Turles at half past 3 for part 3 of this epic encounter.
Part 3. I wonder if there's going to be a part 4, we wonder. A little bit earlier in the championship, Clare suffered from video evidence and lost a player. And Michael Duignan yesterday, who played an excellent game for Offaly, but would count himself lucky to be in the replay.
He had a fantastic game, but he's looking to be kept on, because Michael Duignan, like, he turned around in one instant here, he got a little flick going through, you're going to see it here, picks up the ball. Now David Ford Hustle has tried to close him, he gets a little flick, but he turns around and blazes him with the hurl. Now that's a sending off offence as such. Michael is looking to stay on. But, like, you know, it's one of these things. See it again here. He has the ball. Clare pushing pressure on, and he does, to be fair to Michael, he does get a little tip from David Ford's hurl just in the top here. Well, he doesn't pass much remarks, but when the ball goes away, he just turns around and gives him a good flake with the hurl. And here again, like, again, it's David Ford. Michael doesn't mean it was a high tackle. It's a second book in defence, really. He's been booked already, and he's fortunate to stay on, because he really had a good game, and he brought Offaly back into the game. He hurled brilliant all through. But he's looking to stay on. I don't think Clare will look for that offence to be, you know, to kind of have the caution like they did get Colin Lynch. But I do have a feeling that Colin Lynch will be playing next Saturday. And I think, to be fair to Clare, like, you know, they have taken this brunt. They're going to play a game without any kind of, you know, they're not disputing it or anything else. They're taking it on the chin. It's a 70-minute game again next Saturday. And I think, to be fair to them, that Colin Lynch should be back next Saturday.
Your belief is the Colin Lynch incident is up for appeal. Your belief is that it will be seen favourably now as a little sweetener, let's say.
No, in the way the GA works, like, I was coming down the steps yesterday from the Naddy, and then the Offaly supporters were giving out, you know, rolling like hell about Galway lads and watches and all the rest. And I said to them, don't worry, it's on next Saturday replay. Now, I didn't know at the stage, but I was saying, I had that feeling. And I have that feeling again, knowing the way it works, that Colin Lynch will be playing next Saturday. And I think it would only be right, and I don't think Offaly can play either.
Briefly, sir, who's going to win it?
Psychologically, the ball is in Offaly's court, because, like, they're coming back from the dead and they're getting a second chance again. They deserve that chance. I've gone for Clare all year, and I just about stick with them again.